Question to the Prime Minister. In response to President Herzog's visit, who was found by a UN commission to have incited genocide, peaceful protesters were last night subjected to horrific brutality by the New South Wales Police. Your invitation has fundamentally undermined unity and social cohesion in this country. Will you condemn this police violence and, at the very least, send President Herzog home?
Order. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker.
Order. The Prime Minister will just pause. Order. We will deal. Yes, we'll deal this in a respectful way. That's how points of order will be taken. And I'm giving the call to the member for Curtin on a point of order.
I'm seeking a ruling on whether the member for Flynn is breaching Standing Order 90 by saying "rip her apart."
Order. Order. Members on my right are going to cease interjecting immediately. I'm unaware of what was said, but I remind all members to treat each other with respect. If the member for Flynn indicates that he wishes to make a withdrawal, I'll allow him to do so.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
I thank the member for Flynn. Order. Prime Minister will now be heard in silence.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. President Herzog is visiting Australia at the invitation of the Governor-General as her equivalent head of state. The Australian government supports the invitation, and I'll be meeting with him later today and with victims of with families of the 15 innocent victims whose lives were tragically cut short on the 14th of December. That is what this visit is about. And I would say to everyone in this chamber and outside, as I have said repeatedly, we need to turn the temperature down in this country. We need to turn it right down, including in the rhetoric that just took place in that exchange in this chamber. President Herzog is here in Australia to offer sympathy and solidarity to people who are mourning and to offer his support to members of Australia's Jewish community. He has said, to quote him, that his visit is in the spirit of solidarity, friendship and love. Not enough of that anywhere in the world, not the least here in the past couple of months. I know people have different views and very strong views about the Middle East, and they're entitled to express those, and they're entitled to do that in a peaceful way. The Australian government does that as well. We have recognised Palestine. We support two states. We have spoken out about the devastation and humanitarian crisis in Gaza, in addition to our unequivocal condemnation of Hamas's atrocities on October 7. We will continue to understand that there is a need in this country as well as globally for some nuance in this debate, and that the debate is not advanced by people thinking it's like a football team where you have to support 100% one side or the other. That does not advance peace. There are two roads in the Middle East. One is for Israelis and Palestinians to walk the path towards a settlement which does require, in the Australian government's view very strongly, a two-state solution. In order to do that, you need to engage constructively with Israelis and Palestinians. That is one path. The other path is that a powerful state, the state of Israel, is in a position which we have seen for 7 decades, and the Palestinians remain and oppressed people. Now, I believe very strongly that we need to engage with both Israelis and Palestinians as we go forward. I've consistently said that every life matters, whether Israeli or Palestinian. And the violence that we saw last night was devastating. And I know all Australians would have found those scenes very confronting. I note that the New South Wales Police have said they will examine the footage which was taken place last night, including, I note, that many people who saw the footage, particularly of the people who were praying, and then action was taken, will want to know all of the circumstances around that, and I'll allow the police to do their job. But I also note that there were systems put in place to make sure, which is pretty sensible, frankly, to separate where President Herzog was and where the demonstrations were, and that people sought to break that separation, and therefore to create a circumstance which was not going to be peaceful, that saw what occurred there. Now, in Australia, we can disagree peacefully and with respect. I will treat President Herzog with respect. I've known him for a long period of time. He is someone who you can have a respectful discussion with whilst examining differences which is there. But he is here primarily to provide comfort for people who not only need it, but they deserve it at this time. And I will not, as a number of the crossbenchers have suggested, walk away from my support for his presence here, because it is appropriate that he be here at this time, and it's appropriate that people understand the context which is there, a community which is hurting, a community that is reaching out and just asking for some understanding. I've said before, and I'll say it again to conclude, we need to turn the temperature down, and the Greens political party need to be a part of turning that temperature down rather than up. Australians want the killing to stop. They want innocent lives to be protected, whether they be Israeli or Palestinian. And the other thing that they want is for conflict to not be brought here. That is overwhelmingly what they want. That's the government's position, and we'll continue to advocate for it.